Titles Mean Nothing is sponsored by Naughty Warty Wart Cream.
Do you have a naughty wart hiding in your flesh crevice? Don't be shy. Lubricate some Naughty Warty Wart Cream into your skin growth and feel it restrain and tighten to the touch. In just 5 minutes, feel the ecstasy of peeling the naughty warty sheath of your mound, where you can then flick your dead flesh into the nearest waste receptacle. Warty.
This is Sasha Swift, and you're listening to Titles Mean Nothing. As usual, my handsome boyfriend Alex is sitting next to me.
Hello.
Hello.
We're in comfy gear today. Lazy day.
Lazy day.
But we're going to talk about veganism.
Big V.
The big V. Hopefully in not too much of a preachy way. More about us, our relationship to it, our experiences with it, etc.
Yeah.
I am a qualified vegan TM.
Yeah, imagine that, vegan and queer, who'd have thought? And
the Venn diagram for that is just going to be like a complete...
Well, I'm not a vegan, and I know queer people who aren't vegans. So I'm not a vegan because I eat meat, and I drink milk, and I eat eggs, but I don't drink eggs, so...
That is something. You're not like one of those gym bros that knocks back the egg yolk. Like
Uncle Ernie.
Oh yeah, Uncle Ernie does do that.
So being in the queer community, there is quite a lot of crossover. And I think you said to me it's like about having like basic morals because you've been denied them so much as a queer person, which...
Yeah, I think it's about compassion, really.
Yeah, but not that I'm like lacking compassion. I mean, one of the reasons people are omnivores is they are sheltered from like the realities of the situation, and as much as I think many people can understand there's a point in being a vegetarian, a lot of people don't understand the reasoning behind veganism and why milk and eggs and things like honey are like out of the question. So what don't you eat as a vegan that you would if you were a vegetarian?
Any milk products and egg, anything else that comes from an animal. So common one that when you're kind of a baby vegan that you could trip on quite easily is certain food colourings. So there's quite a common red food colouring called cochineal that's made out of crushed up beetles. So for me, if I'm going to buy sweets or cranberry juice, anything coloured red, I'd just double check it for that.
Wouldn't that be a vegetarian thing as well? If it crushed up beetles, they're not vegetarian,
if you
surely.
look at cartons of cranberry juice, though, they'll all say vegetarian on it, and some of them will have that ingredient in it still. So I don't trust that. But I've known there are things marked as vegetarian that still have gelatin in.
That's weird, yeah. Mm-hmm. What's gelatin got in it then? What is gelatin?
Gelatin is basically like the mushy bit between bones. Mm. So it's basically like a thick-ish fluid that helps your joints move, is my understanding of it.
Yeah.
So usually they get it mostly from beef and pork, which is a problem for some people's religions as well. There's been a massive trend and growth towards vegan products and cruelty-free products when you look at things like makeup and beauty as well. Because that's the other thing. Veganism's not just about the food you eat.
I know that the eyeliner I wear is not vegan because you've reminded me on many occasions.
But the thing I try and think, particularly if someone's moving towards veganism or moving towards, for example, like using less waste, which is something that I'm starting to look at. You know, one of the reasons I'm vegan is because of the environment, but I'm conscious I use a lot of plastic and stuff. So if you're using your current non-vegan eyeliner, I'm not going to turn around and be like, oh, throw that away and buy a new one, because that kind of defeats the point of the whole thing as well. And if you've already bought it, just use it up.
I might as well have died for something, you know. Cows died for cat eye.
What's cat eye?
Eyeliner shape.
Oh, I see.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person. At least this is the kind of like podcast where I'm making jokes about veganism and you're at the same time
trying to balance you
compassionate. and actually in our relationship I think I'm understanding.
You've never made it seem like a problem. I've had it in the past with friends and stuff where it's a bit like, like a burden.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of elements.
You can't eat a burden.
No.
When you're vegan.
One of the things that works out is most places do have a vegan option now. But for example, I went on a holiday to the Lake District with a guest from another series, Sean.
Old Seanster.
And I basically spent the week living off chips and salad and onion rings because there was no proper meal options.
That is so not like you.
No. I mean, I do love chips, but it would have been nice to, for example, have a curry one night, a burger the next night, something else the next. But even the salads, they'd like throw a load of cheese on it, or be a tuna salad or whatever.
Cheese with like on lettuce.
I mean, when I ate cheese, I used to just put cheese on everything that I didn't necessarily like the taste of because it would mask the taste of whatever it was.
I don't like cheese so like that much. So could I put cheese on cheese? I do like cheese. I couldn't like eat, say, a cheese sandwich, like just cheese. But I eat cheese on pizza. I have cheese on toast. I had cheesy beans in my darkest moments, and my jokes are full of cheese too. So, but what I'm finding with you is like, obviously, you know, if I spend a weekend with you, I eat basically vegan the whole time. Even when we go out, I do. It slips a bit more these days, but I do eat like vegan products, and it's not something you're forcing me to do. You're like, oh, go on, have some chicken, which I'm sure you shouldn't be saying as a vegan.
No, it's not. I feel like that needs to be phrased. I don't go and eat chicken. It's eat what you want to eat. I have my own opinions.
You're like putting a chicken in front of me going like, go on, eat it, Sasha.
I have my own opinions. And if someone asks me a direct question, I will give them an answer in terms of, do you think you should eat this? Or why do you think chicken should have a better life? And I will answer it. But I'm not going to, every time you get, I don't know, a Nando's or something, I'm not going to guilt trip you for it because the decision's already made. I don't think it's necessarily productive. There's been a lot of stories recently where people are going to Greg's, Nando's, stuff like that, wearing animal masks and like yelling at people who are in that restaurant. That is one form of activism, and that's fine for other people to do, fine, I guess. But I don't know how effective that is. Whereas stuff like,
I think it does has the opposite effect. Yeah, to be honest, because it's like, because these people are being so over the top and violent, then their beliefs must be really ridiculous, kind of thing. Like, you know, they can't be civil and kind, so why should we read into their beliefs? And
which really is at odds with my view of what veganism is. You've just said, kindness.
Other humans are animals as well, and although we're not eating them, as far as I'm aware, you know, some compassion would be lovely.
But I think other things like the launch of the January kind of scheme, that sounds
January
so bad.
Yeah, the big V.
You know what
again.
I mean, the big V. And stuff like the supermarkets just having more options and advertising that those options exist. I feel like that's much more worthwhile. I've known so many people that have been like, oh, I've really cut down in meat, or oh, on this day, like, I make sure I eat vegan, and it's something.
Is it January or is it Veganuary?
That
I feel
makes
like you
it
added
much
the
more,
J in.
Yeah,
to sound a bit like a G.
It's not intentional.
No. Saying I have cut down meat whilst I've been with you. And also milk and eggs. One of the things I've realised is I kind of don't eat red meat anymore because I actually think I don't really enjoy it. When you cook red meat, there's a lot of excess fats quite often, and there's a lot of cleaning up to do in many ways, and I'm not really enjoying the taste of it, and it's very testosterone-y. And it's quite fattening, actually, unless you get something really lean. So I'd say the main meats I eat are chicken, chimkin, and pork. So sausages, rather than like, I wouldn't have a pork steak, say. I'm very particular. Chicken and sausages are about it, really. And kind of like fish as well, tuna, I have here and there. There's actually quite a lot of nice substitutes for those things. Like the corn sausages are fantastic.
Corn sausages are not vegan.
Fuck. Okay, they're not vegan, but I like the Linda McCartney sausages.
Fries ones are good as well.
Yeah, I like Linda McCartney ones because I love the Beatles. I love Linda.
Oysters on a half shell, Bourbon Street's got its own smell. Yeah, it's got its own smell, oh yeah.
And the sausages taste great. And there's a fair amount of things that replace chicken as well.
Tofu is a favourite in the house at the moment.
I love tofu. I absolutely love tofu. And Alex makes like a brilliant tofu stir fry. And when it comes to like pulled pork, which is also like another favourite of mine, jackfruit has been fantastic. And there's like, when we go to like a particular like chain, we both have jackfruit burgers, which are fantastic. And, you know, there's a lot of meat options available, but I just don't want them, like, frankly.
So you mentioned about fish, chicken,
Chimkin.
and pork in particular. So
Yeah.
I will... Oh, God. It's upsetting just reading the... Like, I know these things in the back of my head. That's why I'm vegan. But, okay. So, 90% of chicken production in the UK is in intensive windowless sheds which house 20,000 to 50,000 chickens each. So no sunlight, no enjoyment. So this is more to do with the egg industry, this part, but 40 million day-old male chicks are killed in the UK by either being gassed or thrown into a macerator.
Do I want to know what that is?
A macerator is like a giant blender.
They're killed
Yeah.
by being put into the blender.
Mm-hmm.
That legal?
Yep. Common practice. Another common practice in the UK that's banned across a lot of other European countries is beak trimming, which is permanent removal of part of the beak to stop them pecking. Because they're in such confined spaces, they can get very wound up and aggressive towards each other. So now it's a common practice to have the end of the beak clipped off so they don't injure each other when they peck at each other.
Yeah.
Less than 3% of UK pigs spend their lives outdoors. A third of pigs in the UK are killed in gas chambers. Most pigs are legally entitled to less than 1 square metre of space each, and the majority of sows are kept in what are called farrowing crates. They just live in a box. Again, that's something that was made illegal in a lot of Europe, but it's still a standard practice in the UK. We kill between 1 and 2 trillion fish every year. 308,000, now this is a word I had to Google, cetaceans, which are whales, dolphins, porpoises, were unintentionally drowned every year because they got entangled in fishing equipment. Do you like salmon?
Yeah, salmon and tuna are probably the things I eat most.
So, from the health side of it, because usually fish can be a really great source of omega-3, for example.
Yeah, that's my favourite omega.
But then farmed salmon has 10 times the amount of cancer-causing organic pollutants than wild salmon. And the other thing is, with sea fish, because we pollute the sea so much, all the rubbish that's going into the sea then goes into the fish that goes back into you, which maybe is a self-serving way of looking at it, but
yeah,
like, don't pollute the sea in the first place would be the logic. But
so what you're saying is don't pollute the sea, eat the fish.
No. That's a real politician's answer.
It's quite sad, those facts. But obviously the other view that a lot of people take is there is a food chain. That's a natural part of evolution. And what I've... Yeah, let me...
Sorry.
No, let me speak.
I'm shaking my head for being quiet.
So yeah, there's the food chain, which is kind of a natural part of evolution, whereas, you know, the first people in the world, they were not like, veganism, that's the way forward.
Wow.
They were like, let's kill these animals and eat them to survive. And then they had a nice tofu salad on the side. No. And I think I've heard other people say, actually, yep, that's absolutely right. You are completely 100% correct. But now we live in a more civilized society where we know better and we don't need to kill to eat. Whereas we can't change the past. We don't have to carry on doing that.
The other element being that your teeth evolve over time. We evolved to be omnivores. We have been primarily plant-based historically also. But the main thing is, with that sort of comment that I hear a lot from people, being like, oh, it's just, you know, survival of the fittest, natural selection. The rate at which, particularly in Europe and the US, that we deforest and kill, it's so disproportionate. We eat and kill so much that's not necessary. And another thing that gets thrown out a lot is, oh, well, actually, soy is a massive contributor to deforestation, etc. But most of that soy goes on feeding those animals that then get slaughtered.
Yeah.
It's not.
And soy
Just
isn't the
tofu.
answer always, is it, either? There's things like other types of shit. I don't know. I'm not the expert here, you are.
I'm not really an expert.
Yeah, you're
but-
the representative of the vegan people.
Uh-oh. But the other thing with it as well, it's so inefficient. So it's saying about the soy being used, then feed the animals to then feed us.
Yeah.
16 pounds of grain is what it takes for 1 pound of meat to be produced as your end product.
Inefficient.
Eat some grains.
Am I a better person for reducing my meat intake?
Definitely. I always admire that with people. I'm not going to say, in general terms, I've got quite an all or nothing attitude. But with that sort of thing, there are other aspects. People's health situations, people's financial situations, people's ability to get out to a supermarket, etc. When you're looking at people with, like, for example, health issues, it's not always an option.
Yeah. The other thing in terms of me is sometimes there's days where I don't see you and I have eaten completely vegan
It's
or
a
at least vegetarian.
habit-forming sort of thing, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, where I've just like, I'll have falafel and hummus or something like that. And of course, the other thing I've said, like, if I lived with you, which is something that may happen in the future, listeners, if I live with you, I would probably just eat vegan forever because what's the point in having like 2 different meals?
Talk about like cost and waste, etc.
Yeah.
It does seem really daft to double up on it like that.
I can live without it, but it's easier not to, which is, I guess, is a really shit attitude. It like highlights that I'm lazy. I mean, there are other factors in my life which I won't share right now. I was wondering, Alex, if I could give you a list of things and that you tell me if, as a vegan, you eat them or not.
Sure.
Okay. Pork sausages.
No.
Lamps.
No.
Why?
Metal.
Metal's vegan, I'm pretty sure.
But it's not good for you.
Fried halloumi.
No.
Why not?
Because it's cheese.
See, I didn't know halloumi was cheese. I thought it was vegan for a while for some reason. Okay, what about daffodils, Alex?
I suppose I could eat them, although I don't think they classify as an edible flower.
CD player.
Nope.
It's vegan though, isn't it? Probably.
Except for maybe some glue in it.
What would the glue be made out of?
Have you not heard the idea of like when horses get killed, they're turned into glue?
Okay, but then how can you use a CD player?
Because I am not 100% ethical.
What? Not you.
Here's our like breaking story.
What about, would you eat a leather jacket?
No.
No.
Nor would I wear one.
Nor would you wear one, okay. What about a Bulbasaur?
Never.
They say...
Oh wait, they are part plant.
What, we watched Pokemon? The Pokedex said researchers aren't sure whether a Bulbasaur is a plant or an animal.
That's a tricky one, isn't it? I'd probably say no to be on the safe side.
Because it's sentient, maybe? Like, I would think that would be like...
That's the thing.
Yeah. What about weed from Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men?
Again, sentient.
Is it though? It just says weed.
But it formulates some form of language. So
Well,
yeah.
it could be like, not like a parrot, because that's not sentient. Like Venus flytraps aren't alive, are they? No, well, they're alive, but I feel like, would you eat a Venus fly? No, of course you wouldn't. But a Venus flytrap would eat you.
No, it wouldn't.
It's a word. If
I'm
you put
not
your
a fly.
If you put your finger in the Venus flytrap, it's going to bite you. I say bite the fucker back.
It might bite me, but it won't eat me. I'm not a fly.
What about honey?
No. It
Why?
comes from an animal.
Yeah.
It's basically bee puke.
Well, exactly.
you
Like
wanna eat-
the bees don't want it. Like,
Do you want to eat another animal's puke?
if it tastes delicious, yeah.
Really?
Well, I eat honey, so clearly I do. Would you eat sentient tofu?
There's no such thing.
Like, if a tofu, like, came to... You know, like, the saying we could probably... Okay, genetically engineer meat,
Okay.
like, in a lab. What if they did it the opposite and made the tofu sentient? Like, you could have, like, walking tofu.
What would be the
in
benefit of
tofu
that?
farms. I don't know.
Why would someone do it?
What about that genetically engineered meat in the lab? Like, if they could make the meat, but without the sentient animal, and so
But they still have to source that from
yeah, but
somewhere.
once the sourcing's done, well,
Yeah, but it's
to-
still
to
come
make-
from the animal
yeah,
then.
but to make like vegetarian substitutes or vegan substitutes for existing food, they must have had to have tasted the food in advance to try and make the taste the same.
Well, not all of it's about mimicking the taste. Like we had those edamame and mint burgers the other day. That wasn't trying to emulate meat. It was just, let's put some things that taste nice in a patty.
There's going to be like a time where they've sourced that meat, maybe in 100 years. They're still using our existing source for that meat and having not harmed animals in that time. And then there's like, you can have
It would
rare
be better,
animals
but
like
again,
panda.
it's not necessary. For me personally as well, it's been a few years since I went vegan and even longer since I went vegetarian. I don't miss the taste of meat. I don't particularly remember it.
What about them trying to make that vegan style meat that bleeds? It like bleeds beetroot juice. Now, I've never liked the bleeding aspect because it makes it all too real, to be honest. Like, oh, I'm not a vegan. But you wouldn't eat that as a vegan.
Yeah, I think the beetroot juice stuff would freak me out a bit.
Would you eat
That's
Nigel
something.
Farage if
God, he'd be so like gristly, wouldn't he?
you could like rid the world of all the hate if you ate Nigel Farage?
I wouldn't need to eat him
Would you
to
eat
do
him?
that.
No, that was the option.
No.
Like, if the option was you had to, if the only way to rid the world of hate was to eat Nigel Farage, and you could bring world peace, would you do it?
Yeah, maybe. Oh God. Ugh. Like, I just
don't think you could tuck into his face.
If you were ever
could
going
you?
to turn to cannibalism, he would not be my first choice of person.
Who would be your first choice?
Someone like really muscly and like you'd imagine them to be like tender to eat, like a lamb. I'm such a bad vegan. It's cool that.
No, I'm not cutting any of that out. That's really funny. Would you eat your words?
I regularly do. I've heard a lot of people say that meat substitutes are costly, and you compare to like a Linda McCartney pack of sausages to I don't even know what the brands are, pack of meat, pork, whatever sausages. At maximum, you're going to pay £2 or £2.50 for a pack of 6 sausages. For a pork sausage, what's it going to be, like 3, 4, maybe £5? Think. I don't really know because I don't look, but
Okay, let's have a look at the cost of pork cylinders. Morrison's have thick pork sausages for £1, and there's 8 of those. So yeah, well done. Tell me about vegan cheese, because we see it on menus, and there's always some sort of like they're not legally allowed to call it cheese. Is that right?
I don't know where the line sits with this. I think there's recently been changed to say like you can't call vegan sausages, you can't call vegan cheese. I don't know how much of that is just the press going off on one.
Yeah, because we've certainly seen vegan sausages.
The sausage describes the shape. Cheese is like a specific dairy product. So I think it would just have to be like cheese alternative, I think is the language being used now.
We've seen like cheese with an
Cheese
S.
is a brand though.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And cheese with a star, like that. Well, no, not a star.
Again, that's a brand.
An asterisk. Shift and 8. An asterisk. Yeah.
That's a brand too.
Oh, cheese asterisk.
Yeah.
That's a shit name, isn't it?
Yes.
Cheese asterisk.
Yeah.
That sounds like it. Like you're gonna buy a cheese asterisk. Like the shape of the cheese is in an asterisk.
Cheese as a brand of vegan cheese, I don't really like. It's very smelly.
Oh wow! You should be
Violife.
very familiar with
Here's
it.
my
Violife.
Violife is alright, but it's kind of rubbery in texture. But I've tended to find, I'm not sure which ones it is that tend to get used at chain restaurants and stuff, but I know we've recently been to Pizza Hut that used one, we've had Papa John's that used one, and it's melted okay. It's got that similar sort of stringy texture. So I think as the demand for that kind of product increases, more and more work will be done in the, by the scientists and the technicians that work for the companies to get the texture and stuff that people really want. The supermarkets, I feel like, are really leading the way with it as well. Like if you go to the main supermarkets, you don't just have like one kind. You'll have Red Leicester, you'll have Wensleydale. They'll cater like a lot to people's various tastes.
Cheese is just fucking cheese to me. I don't.
See, I
need all
used
these
to really
variations.
enjoy cheese,
Yeah.
and like
Then
French
you-
cheeses and stuff like that. But I learnt about the sort of things that I talked about earlier.
What were they? No.
Let's have a recap before the
Rewind.
depression.
Yeah. We should play the podcast through again straight after.
Give us another listen. After learning about that sort of thing, I just really couldn't justify it to myself for the couple of minutes of enjoyment that I'd get from something. So, veganism has gained more and more news attention.
We're thinking of Mr. Piers Morgan, the shit. So, tell me about Piers, the shit, and veganism.
This is an individual who has taken a particular dislike to the snowflake generation. And again, we talked at the beginning about the often crossover of like queer people and vegans. Queer people are another group that he disdains. With reference to veganism in particular, though, he decided a few weeks ago, because Marks and Spencer's were going to change the recipe of I think it's one of their most popular sweets, to not include gelatin, that this was cause for a complete meltdown on national television.
Oh no, the vegans have come. The vegans have come for Percy. They haven't tried to get Percy the pig banned.
As someone who doesn't eat meat, can I eat Percy?
Because we're eating pigs all day, right? Emma says, I've got rid of all the gelatin, so there's no trace of pig in the pig sweets, right? And now they taste, as fans have said, like washing up liquid. So they've completely destroyed Percy pigs, right? Just to cater for a few vegans who don't realise that it's a pig. It's called Percy the pig.
Piers, don't be obtuse.
It's
just
called
because
Percy the pig.
They are shaped like pigs.
Well, get your own damn sweets. Seriously. Vegans, vegetarians, go and get your own sweets, right? Seriously, go and get sweets that aren't called Percy pig.
He's got his priorities right. Yeah, definitely.
All the things going on in the world, and vegan sweets is his... it just strikes me as strange that someone who thinks that millennials are constantly wanting attention and validation and special treatment, that he behaves that way on national television and it's viewed as entertainment. And it was a cause of outcry that people that weren't him were having their needs tended to, in essence.
The thing is, when Greg's introduced the vegan sausage rolls, he really had a go at them.
I mean, they stink, right,
No,
for one.
they're delicious.
Right?
They're delicious, actually.
Because they've got the same seasoning.
Oh, my God.
I would eat
Why would
that.
anyone eat this?
Because it's really tasty.
Yeah,
nice.
because everyone goes to Greg's to be healthy, right? This is complete gastronomic appropriation, right? In France, they've now banned all vegetarian and vegan products from using meat phraseology. They can't call fake veggie stuff meat labels like a sausage roll, because sausage roll is meat, right? And we should do that here. It's a complete con. Well, I know, you may do that. It's a complete con.
That wasn't even like it was changing the recipe. It was an additional recipe. Yeah. Like, it wasn't replacing the meat sausage rolls. And the vegan sausage rolls are pretty good. And his, like, moan about it did more for the sales than anything. Maybe he owns, like, stocks in Greg's or something.
I think they might have the same PR company. I think he might be represented by the same people as Greg's is.
Is that a fact, though?
That's why I said I think and might.
Okay.
Because I know enough about libel not to...
Yeah. They're talking about introducing more vegan products to Greg's, which I think is a great idea, because people could eat more of the vegan products, and Piers Morgan can have a bit more of a meltdown. So everyone's happy,
The people in charge of these companies will be able to make more profit and boast about all that. Fine for them, And people will be able to eat a wider range of foods. Again, I don't see why people need to throw their toys out of the pram, that's all.
Any final thoughts on veganism?
I just thought before we finish, I would list a couple of resources that I've found helpful for today's episode, but generally helpful when I was starting to become vegan.
Yeah.
And kind of throughout. So one that's quite handy is Accidentally Vegan. I've got them on Instagram, but I think they're on Facebook and Twitter and things as well. And it's essentially people will photograph normal, like everyday supermarket foods and say, oh look, like this is accidentally vegan. So it's a nice thing to go on, firstly to check whether a product is, because sometimes websites that list this get out of date quite quickly, and also it's a good resource to like send to non-vegans if they're like, oh, I'm at the supermarket, do you want anything, what biscuits can you eat, for example, and then you can look at it and be like, bourbons,
so they don't
Oreos,
accidentally give you milk
great.
roll.
Yes, exactly.
Or pesto.
Pesto that's got like that gross cheese in it.
Yeah.
Another one is somebody on YouTube, but she has ebooks and Instagram and all the rest. Madeline Olivia.
I was gonna say, I hope you're gonna be specific about the someone on YouTube.
Yeah. Her name's Madeline Olivia.
Yeah.
She does quite a few different things, sort of like a clean beauty. She's also doing some home renovation stuff at the minute, but a lot of the content's around veganism, but also like how to do it affordably.
Can you do vegan home renovation?
Well, I guess she will be doing that, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And another one where I've got a lot of my stats today was the Vegan Society website. So there's a lot of information on there, but also I think they also have packs and leaflets that they can send out with recipes in, which could be handy for people. So those were kind of the main things that I've consistently looked at while I've been vegan, and was helpful kind of when I was looking stuff up for today's episode as well.
Anything off the top of your head that's accidentally vegan?
So some accidentally vegan stuff, like I mentioned Oreos, just bourbon biscuits often are.
Yeah. Oreo must be so aware of their vegan audience.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
Although there's one or two
Funny.
of the flavours that aren't.
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but do check the labels on them. A favourite of ours, so I typically can't eat pastries because they'll use fresh butter in them, but Just Roll, their cinnamon swirls and their pan au chocolat,
Oh my god. Yeah.
a firm favourite,
I didn't know what
Of
Just
vegan.
Roll was till I met you.
and now it's
Yeah.
a good favourite breakfast.
It's amazing, and it's vegan.
So yeah, those are a few off the top of my head. There's free from sections in the supermarkets just keep getting bigger and bigger, so more options.
But free from stuff isn't always vegan, is it?
No, but it includes vegan
It does,
stuff.
yeah. Because
You can get like gluten-free
Yeah.
pepperoni pizza, for instance. That would not be.
my mother bought you something like gluten free once, didn't she? Thinking it was just going to be vegan.
Oh, pancake mix.
Yeah. She bought you like gluten free pancake mix, thinking it'd be vegan.
And it's like,
It's not though. Yeah.
ingredient 2, eggs. It's like, oh,
Bless
this is a
them, though.
nice effort,
Tried.
but
She bought you a vegan Easter egg
yep, that was lovely.
and some Linda McCartney sausages.
So she's on the up.
She's a good egg. Oh,
Oh, a good vegan egg. A vegan Easter egg.
it's like a vegan Easter egg is the only egg you can eat, really. I suppose, isn't it?
There are health stores like Holland and Barrett do have vegan eggs.
Okay, how does that work?
Don't really know.
Okay.
Very expensive. I've never had them, but there are also replacements you can get.
Now I know what I'm going to get you for your birthday.
Eggs. I could make you an omelette.
Vegan egg. No, just one. If they're that expensive, I'll only be able to
You
afford
can only
one.
you have to buy them in a.
Oh, fuck that. Oh, shit.
There we go. Birthday presents out the window.
Why is life so hard? Anyway, it's been a wonderful episode learning about veganism.
Thank you very much for listening. This has been Titles Mean Nothing with me, Alex Thomas.
I nearly dove straight in there after you said
I know.
Tells me
I didn't even pause for breath.
Okay, let's say it. Let's see who can say it faster. Okay. This has been Titles Mean Nothing. I'm Sasha Swift.
And I've been Alex Thomas.
And I'm Sasha Swift.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Bye.